from Classic Show, and I'd like to review a game called Jurassic Park. We all remember Jurassic Park. It's one of those movies that everyone kind of likes. Unless you're just one of those hardcore dinosaur haters out there, I don't really see how you couldn't remember it or even like it for that matter. So, it's a Super Nintendo game. It's got to be pretty good, I'd imagine, but it's made by Ocean. I mean, Ocean made some pretty crappy games in their day, such as Waterworld on the Virtual Boy. And, yeah. Oh my gosh!
Alright, now, someone decided to paint their initials on the back of the game with yellow paint. Who paints their initials on the back of the game? Writing it in black marker is bad enough, but I guess the overall cartridge condition really isn't that good. I mean, it wasn't expensive to buy, but I mean, yellow paint? Who takes the time to paint their initials on the back with yellow paint? Well, I can't really say much for the rest of the cartridge. I mean, there's only one name on it. I could only imagine if there were more names on this thing. I mean, there's sticker marks and everything. It's just unappealing to look at, but it doesn't really affect the game. Alright, well this is the title screen for Jurassic Park, 1993 Oceans of America Incorporated. Well, that's the company, and it has this little mouse thing that flies around the screen. I think it was originally a mouse game, but here we go. You have start, high scores, a music option, and sound, which you can go from stereo to surround and mono. Now, it's pretty cool that you get to choose how the sound comes out at you. When you actually get into the game, it doesn't change much.
Welcome to Jurassic
What's with the guy with the lispy voice? I don't really understand why they would get someone like that to do the voice for Jurassic Park. I figured they'd just do like a dinosaur roar or something. Well, here you can kind of like bend over and do something. I guess it's for picking stuff up, but you know, if you really wanted to, you could like breakdance or something. Alright, well, once the breakdancing session is over, you'll find that it didn't give you any points. But anyway, moving on into the game. At first you get a taser, which is pretty cool. You get to go around and electrocute little dinosaurs. And, you know, it's kind of fun. It runs out of power kind of quickly, but you can bend over and pick up weapons you find on the ground. Like this, shotgun. Well, it's really just like a regular gun, and it shoots a pretty big little bullet thing out the end. And it kills stuff pretty quickly, a lot faster than the taser, but the taser does regenerate. This is just a basic weapon. It's the first one you find in the game if you go this way. And it is very effective against all enemies. I mean, these little dinosaur guys just explode into oblivion when you hit them with it. And you get to move around in the environment quite a bit. I was actually quite surprised by the range of movement in this game. I mean, even when these huge enemies come out and try to just destroy you, you really do have a fighting chance. It's not overly easy, but it's not way too hard. It's got a perfect balance between the two. So when you're moving around, sometimes you get these little reminders, like this one tells you not to shoot the gallimimus because they might stampede. But there's a lot of areas to explore. Some of them are kind of, you know, urbanized, like a building or something, and some of them are just wilderness. I always thought it was kind of cool that you could go inside the buildings and... Huh? Wow, I was really surprised when I first saw this in the game. I mean, to have an overhead view and such an awesome first-person shooter stage is really incredible. Looking around, the graphics look really clean. I was surprised. Now, in another game on Super Nintendo, Doom, a lot of you classic gamers will remember it, but the graphics weren't as clean. Now, this, you know, you can't see the gun or anything, and it doesn't really tell you a lot of information outright like it does in Doom, but it's still a really good first-person shooter stage. I mean, you know, the control isn't all that, but Doom was really a masterpiece, and to compare the two isn't really fair, considering this isn't the game's main feature. This is just a side feature for when you go inside the buildings. So I guess the big question of the day is, why weren't there more games like this that incorporated both features? I mean, this could be better than Doom, as far as a gaming standpoint goes. Now, don't misunderstand me. Doom is an awesome game. It was a real masterpiece and a real innovation in the first-person shooter games. Well, To be fair, Doom is a much better first-person shooter, but that's all it did. It was a first-person shooter game. Jurassic Park had more to offer as far as gaming goes, and that's what I'm trying to say here.
Now, both games were made in 1993, so how was Jurassic Park such a superior game? They're made in the same company, and it was the big first-person shooter, guys. It perplexes me to no end.
So when I say Jurassic Park is a more superior game to Doom, don't get me wrong. Doom certainly has better controls in the first-person shooter mode, but undoubtedly Jurassic Park has far more to offer as far as ease of play and modes of gaming goes.
So Jurassic Park was a really good game. I mean, I was actually kind of surprised. Originally, I thought, it's made by Oceans, it's another movie game. They usually aren't all that good. I mean, remember Terminator 2? It doesn't matter what console you play that on. It was just bad. But it had a lot of different modes of play. It kind of reminds me of Bayou Billy with its Zapper stage. Because this one had an overhead kind of view, and then it also had a first-person shooter kind of view. Much like in Doom. Both are on the Super Nintendo, so you really don't get much of a comparison with another system, but I mean still, you're comparing Super Nintendo to Super Nintendo, so you can do that. But Jurassic Park was a surprisingly good game. I don't want to reveal too much of the game to you because that would kind of ruin it if you wanted to play it. But I definitely give it 5 stars. It's a great game. You should definitely check it out if you're into Super Nintendo. This is John from Classic